I'm delighted to welcome Richard Tice, the leader of Reform UK, to the show. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you
Thank
too.
you. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Now, we were already planning to speak to you before we knew of this apparently big announcement, an emergency general election announcement from your party honorary president, Nigel Farage, at 4 o'clock today. Can you give us a hint what this is about?
Well, we're looking forward to that announcement at 4 o'clock, Julia. And look, we're having a great campaign so far, very energised, getting huge positivity and returns. But sometimes patience is a virtue, so
it
what I would urge
is,
you to
I
do is
find.
come along.
Do you know what he's going to say? Because there's some rumours going around that you and Nigel Farage have fallen out.
Far from it. We're getting on absolutely fantastic. I know exactly what we're going to say at the announcement.
Give us a hint then. Right, let me just run things by you then. Is Nigel Farage going to be running for a seat after saying a week ago he wasn't?
Come along and listen at 4 o'clock, Julia, and you'll find out everything.
Is there going to be...
They'll come if I tell you, Julia.
Is there going to be not a deal, because you and Nigel Farage have both ruled out a deal with the Tories, but are you going to decide to basically do what you did in 2019 and stand down candidates in the seats where you think the Tory candidate aligns quite nicely with your views?
No.
You're going to still be running in all 630 seats in British mainland?
No deals with the Tories.
You don't have to do a deal. You could just not stand a candidate.
No, that's
not.
Can
we rule that out?
Can we rule out?
If you're happy to rule that out, can we rule out Nigel Farage running for a seat?
Just come along and listen. There's lots of things we're going to talk about.
You know what everyone's going to read into that, right? Okay, so an emergency announcement. We'll find out what it is, right? You say that you think the campaign is going well so far. On what basis?
Well, on the basis that look at the YouGov poll that was out at the back end of last week, and we were up 3% to 15%. There's another big YouGov poll coming out, I think, at 5 o'clock this evening, based on that with a seat analysis. Other polls we've been going up, completely contrary to what the Tories were trying to do, which was to squeeze us down. Actually, the truth is the gap between us and the Tories is holding in the range that it has been. And the returns we're getting from canvassing and talking to people in various constituencies up and down the country, we're absolutely delighted with. So on that basis, we're very pleased with progress. And because we're talking about the key thing that matters, which is this is an immigration election. You had the figures out at the beginning of the campaign from the ONS that showed that net migration was at record levels. And we know the impact that has on people, whether it's on the unaffordability of housing, the pressure on healthcare, and the suppressing of British wages. Those are the things that's really impacting on the young, on the lowest paid. And that's why people are saying, we like what you stand for.
Well, other parties are announcing their policies on immigration. You were the first to announce on that particular side of things. We had defence and NHS and other policies announced from other parties. But Yvette Cooper, the shadow Home Secretary for Labour, again, most people on the polls would say they're most likely next Home Secretary on the 5th of July. She says that her party wants to get net immigration down significantly. She hasn't given a date for by when or what number. But do you trust that Labour will significantly cut immigration?
If you believe that, I've got some sound to tell you. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Labour are the party of mass immigration. They refuse to give a number on it. And look, the truth is everybody knows that the Tories have completely betrayed their promises. Labour won't talk about it because it's all a bit scary. In the same way that just your previous piece there about the fact that there's only two genders and two sexes. Labour won't talk about that either, which is completely ridiculous. They won't give the basic biological commitment. In fact, it's funny, basically, it seems the two main parties are beginning to try and copy our policies without admitting that they're copying our policies. I mean, all of a sudden, the Tories are talking about changing the law for the Equalities Act to confirm there's only two sexes, but they won't say there are only two genders, which you and I know. And they won't say that you shouldn't be teaching this gender questioning and social transitioning in schools, which again we're the only party.
No, we just had an announcement about that only a couple of weeks ago before the election, limiting what children could be taught.
No, it was guidance. It's out for consultation. It's not legally binding, and many schools are ignoring it. So once again, they don't have the courage and the leadership and the guts actually to have the conviction. I don't need to consult with people to say that this stuff is a breach of safeguarding. It's as simple as that.
Here's the thing. Now, there'll be lots of our audience, I know, who will agree with you. There'll be lots of Tory voters who will agree with many who used to vote Labour who then with the red wall Tory voters for Brexit, who will agree with a lot of what you say as well. We know that there's been a moving feast of way voters are moving in recent years. However, the message that, look, if the Tories are putting out, if you vote for Reform UK, you're going to get Labour. And if you're angry with anything that the Tories are doing, Labour, their argument is, Labour's even worse than us. I don't think it's the strongest manifesto argument for a campaign argument that a party's ever had. But that is the reality, isn't it? A lot of the things that people are unhappy with the Tories about, if they vote for Reform UK, the odds are they're more likely to see a Labour government with a strong majority, and they'll get policies that they, on their viewpoint, don't want.
It's completely the opposite, Julia. The truth is, if you vote Tory, you'll get Labour, because everybody knows, all the pollsters know, this is a unique set of circumstances. And so whether we like it or not, we're going to get a Labour government. So actually, all Tory voters who are not happy with what the Tories have done to the country in the last 14 years, this is your moment to express that unhappiness by saying, actually, this is the moment to vote for what I believe in, not what I'm afraid of. Vote for reform. Give reform millions and millions and millions of votes, and then that will give us the strength and the confidence so that, in a sense, it'll prove the lunacy of the first past the post system. And the Tories might be in opposition, but what there won't be is the opposition. We will represent the opposition.
Well, you can say that, but the likelihood of they say worst case scenario for the Tories going down to 100 seats, realistically, that's a worst case.
That's best case.
But you're not going to be winning on the first past the post system as things stand. It's very unlikely Reform UK would win anything close to that. So you wouldn't be the official opposition.
But they will be in opposition, as I say, but there won't be the opposition. Because everything they say is exactly the same as the Labour Party. There's no difference between the two. High taxes, big state, mass immigration, pro-net zero, all the things that's destroying growth in this country and leading to the longest recession per person.
Do you at Reform UK, it's difficult because some things you've said, some things Nigel said, do you want to destroy the Tories and literally have them destroyed and Reform UK become the right of centre party in this country? Or do you want to take over the Tories, as has been suggested by Nigel Farage, your honorary president, in the last couple of days, that he wants to basically take over the Tories and basically turn the Tories back into the centre-right party that he would support? Which is it? You can't have both.
Well, actually, what the country needs is a centre-right party. And the reality at the moment is you've got two parties to the centre-left, which are the main two parties, and then you've got the growing Reform. And our point of view is that there needs to be a strong, confident, right of centre party. That's what we stand for. And we're saying to all of those people that what might traditionally be sort of termed a real conservative, you're in the wrong party. You're in the party of Social Democrats and One Nation, the woke lot. Well, that's not what being actually properly socially conservative, make work pay, work hard, aspirational, small states, individual responsibility, controlling our borders. That's what sort of socially conservative values stand for. That's what we stand for. There's no other party that stands for that, Julia.
How much of a say are you going to get to have during this election in terms of the Ofcom PERD rules, which was hit from last Thursday for us? And that basically assigns how much the balance one has to have as a broadcaster. Newspapers can write whatever they want, but broadcasters are required by law to give balance in their broadcasting in terms of making sure that we represent the views of not just the major parties, but minor parties as well. Normally when, it's very obvious, Labour and Tories, they're the two obvious people to talk about. When we talk about smaller parties, that is decided on where a party is in the polls right now, but also based on the last general election results as a guidance. Now, the rules have changed this time round, haven't they?
Yes, they have. And they came out with some new guidance, Ofcom, last week. And we're very concerned by that because it appears that they have deliberately made the rules, in a sense, designed to make it easier for the mainstream broadcasters not to cover the growth of Reform UK. We're now polling well ahead of the Lib Dems, about 2 or 3 times what the Greens are polling at. And yet actually that guidance would give the broadcasters the ability, looking at the last 2 elections, to give us less coverage. And already you're seeing that with the BBC's plans for Question Time in a couple of weeks' time. And as far as we're concerned, it's the here and now that matters. So we view that as being completely unacceptable. It's another establishment stitch-up. You
believe that there's been political bias by the establishment, by Ofcom, that instead of just doing the usual sort of calculation and balance on past results in elections and where you're in the polls now. They've added in 2 sets of elections, so they've biased it in favour of other smaller parties, not reform. You think that's been a deliberate political tactic?
I can't see any other reason for why they would suddenly change the guidance.
Are you going to be legally challenging that?
If we didn't exist, they wouldn't have done that.
Are you going to legally challenge that? Because that's going to affect whether or not you get invited to leaders' debates and things like that.
All of that is being looked at as we speak. Okay. Leaders' debates are being negotiated day in, day out, and we feel very strongly that we should be represented. Millions and millions of people want us to be in those leaders' debates. Okay,
just finally, now, look, this 4 o'clock announcement from Nigel Farage. You say you haven't fallen out. You say you're not going to stand down any candidates against Tories. You won't rule out Nigel Farage running for a seat. Can you rule out something else, though? Is there going to be a high-profile Tory defection?
Oh, well, and that's all the reason why you've got to be patient and why you should be there.
So you won't rule that out, then?
I won't rule that out either.
Big smile on his face. I think we might have got to it. 11:45 is it? Big thanks, Richard Tice, leader of Reform UK. Thank you very much indeed for that.